And thank you to our witnesses. General Kellogg, you are dissatisfied with the pace of delivery of weaponry and ammunition. Dr. Stent mentioned in her testimony that we're limiting what we do for various reasons. One of the arguments that is sort of baffling is that we're holding back on some things because we need them to defend our interests in NATO. That's surprising to me, since we are in NATO and we have positioned our resources there to defend against Russia. So does it make sense to hold back our capabilities in other places in Europe rather than deliver them where the fight is right now?
No, Senator, it does not. Senator, the Ukrainians are fighting the fight that we thought we were going to fight 20 and 25 years ago against the very people we thought we were going to fight with the very equipment that we thought we were going to have to use in Europe. So give the Ukrainians the equipment they need. An example, Army Preposition Set number 2 is sitting in Germany. Multiple combat teams, multiple brigade sets are sitting right there. Transfer that equipment now. It's there. They can train for it in Grafenwehr and Hohenfels, unleash it against the Russians. That's what the equipment was designed to be used for. You might as well use the equipment it was designed for. And the Russians, once they have an inability to proceed on the battlefield, they have no ability to go towards NATO because they will not have the military capacity as long as we use the equipment that we should be giving them right now.
And how soon could that be accomplished?
Sir, it could be rapidly. The equipment's stationed right there. You can get the prepossession sets moving as quickly as you want to. They'll be saying, well, it's going to affect our readiness. No, it doesn't, because the readiness was designed to be used for was to defeat the Russian army. That's what the Ukrainians are doing right now.
Exactly.
Give them the tools they need to win this fight now.
Well, if you would comment on the practicality of F-16s, do you buy the administration's stated reason for the reluctance there and the ATACMS?
My concern on that, Senator, is the fact that when they need them, when the term was when they don't need them right now, well, when they do need them, it'll be late to give it to them. What they really need are the MiG-29s that came out of Poland. Give them the equipment they're used to be using on there. Now, it's not as, the avionics clearly not as good on U.S. aircraft as we see on, like, example, the MiG-29. But they can still put equipment on there that can defeat the Russians. You can put the HARM-88 missile on it. You can put a lot of ordnance on that. Give them the stuff that they're currently used to using in the air.
Okay. Well, is there any point in our training the beginning to train the Ukrainian pilots on F-16s at this point? Do you recommend that or not?
Senator, I would be training them on everything we've got, because if we had an ability to bring them back, we should have done it months ago. It still takes time to train, regardless if it's a tank crewman or a pilot in an aircraft. We probably should be training them if we had an ability. If we thought that we were going to come do it, get ahead of the game instead of behind the game.
And then there are two schools of thought with regard to the Pacific. One is that this distracts us from our major threat, and that's the Communist Party of China. The other is that China is watching and looking for indications of American resolve. So why should we be? How should we be viewing this with regard to the pacing threat of China?
Well, two parts real quickly. The actions we were taking in Ukraine, supporting them, is being watched by China. And if they see us with strength, they will regard us with caution as well. And I'm not sure we're doing that. Sir, and the first question again was on the two fight. Sir, I believe that the fight in the Pacific, if we have to go there, will be primarily an air and naval fight. It won't be a ground fight. We're not going to march to Beijing. So the systems are different. It's a ground war in Europe. It's an air and sea war primarily in the Pacific, sort of like an apples and oranges.
And I hear two concerns among the talking heads now. One is corruption and our resources potentially being stolen over there. Am I correct that we're pretty much on top of that? And also, is it fair to count the burden sharing as Ms. Massico, I believe, indicated in terms of the humanitarian aid that is being primarily shouldered by our European allies.
Well, we're still giving, according to the Kiel Institute, sir, which tracks that, still 50% of the aid out of the countries they track, 41, is still 50% American. So we're giving a lot. They need to step up to the plate and do more to be able to give that aid to them as well. And again, sir, the first question was on the comment, sir, the first one, part of that.
You know, I shouldn't ask two questions
Okay, sir.
at one time, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Wicker. Senator Shaheen, please.
Thank you, and thank you to each